Namaste everyone. Welcome to the remaining problems in thermodynamics. Right? We were discussing the problems for NEET and JEE Mains. Now here is the 15th problem. We have finished 14 problems and synopsis also. Here is the 15th problem. Namaste. Welcome back to the class. The temperature inside and outside of a refrigerator are 273 Kelvin and 303 Kelvin. Let us list it. 303 Kelvin and 273 Kelvin. The temperature of the hot reservoir, definitely 303. Okay. Temperature of the cold reservoir, T2, that is 273 Kelvin. Okay. Assuming that the refrigerator cycle is reversible, for every joule of work done, for every 1 joule of work done, Q1 minus Q2 is the work done. So that is W, delta W, that is 1 joule. For every 1 joule of work done, heat delivered to the surroundings. You know how does a refrigerator work? It works opposite to the Carnot cycle. And here is a hot reservoir, and here is the cold reservoir, and here is the working substance, and here is the work done. This is the working substance, is the gas, and this is the work done. Work done on the gas, it is compressed, and gas absorbs heat energy from the cold reservoir, and both are added and are given to the hot reservoir. That is Q1, because this is Q1 minus Q2, and this is absorbed is Q2. This plus this gives Q1. That is how it does it work, right? Reverse of Carnot cycle. Whereas in Carnot cycle, heat is absorbed from the hot reservoir and the remaining heat is given to the cold reservoir, and some work is done by the gas. Here work is done on the gas, and gas absorbs heat energy. Together it gives it to the hot reservoir. Okay, what you have to do now? Yeah, I have to, yes. Here you have to find out, a question is, assuming that the refrigerator cycle is reversible, for every 1 joule of work done, what is the heat delivered to the surroundings? Will be nearly. That means you have to find out Q1 is how much heat is delivered to the surroundings, right? After absorbing from cold reservoir and after doing work on itself, work done on the gas, together how much is given. Q1 is how much. I think you can have coefficient of performance, right? Q2 by Q1 minus Q2, which is also equal to T2 by T1 minus T2. Here you will get the sum answer, I think. Right, Q1 minus Q2, yeah, anything, yeah, I think there are many ways of finding this. That implies Q2, what is Q2, don't know. Q1 minus Q2, Q1 minus Q2 is 1 joule. 1 joule of work is done on the gas. T2, this you can find out, T2 by T1 minus T2, 273 divided by 303, right? Assuming that so much heat delivered to the surrounding, Q1 you have to find out. So 273, I think this can be almost written as 3 ones are ones are and 3 nines are ones are, right? So I think it can take it as 90 by 100, that is 9, almost 9, almost equal to 90 by 100, that is equal to 0.9, 9 by 10. So that is 0.9, and it becomes Q2 becomes 0.1, 0.9, or 10 joules. Okay, should get 9. 101, 91, 100, 90. 110 got cancelled. Somewhere we have gone wrong. No, yeah, 0.9. Yes, I will edit it as 0.9. Right, 0.9. If it is 0.9 joules. That is Q2, correct? This gives Q2. Q2 is equal to 0.9 joules, let it be. Or almost equal to 1, right? If Q2 is 0.9 joules, then what is Q1? Use this formula, right? Q1, no, where we have, somewhere we have gone wrong. Q2 by Q1 minus Q2, Q2 by Q1, T2 by T1 minus T2. T1 minus T2 is how much? Q2 by Q1 minus Q2 is 1 joule. T2 by T1 minus T2. There we have gone wrong. This is wrong, right? This is wrong. Q2 by 1 joule is equal to T2 divided by T2 is 273 divided by T1 minus T2, correct? We have gone wrong. T1 minus T2 is 303 by 273. What is that? 303 minus 273. 273, 27 and 30. Yeah, this is 30. That's where we have gone wrong. That is not 303, 30. I don't know why did I substitute it so. Okay, sometimes it happens. So Q2 by 1 joules, 273 by 30. So 30 10 times and 39 and 1 times. 3 times 3 nines are 1s are. So this is almost equal to 9 joules, right? Now substitute it here. What is that? Q1 minus Q2 is equal to 1. But we have got Q2, that is 9. Now Q1 minus 9 is equal to 1. So Q1 is equal to 10. 10 joules of heat is delivered to the surroundings, because 1 joule of work is done on the gas and 9 joules of heat is absorbed from the sink cold reservoir. Totally 10 joules of heat is delivered to the surroundings. So that is how it works, right? So if you solve such problems, you will clearly understand how the refrigerator works, right? So using electrical energy, we compress the gas using a compressor, and for that we need 1 joule of work, and using that energy, it absorbs 9 joules of heat from the commodities kept inside the refrigerator, and the total delivered outside is 10 joules. Okay, reverse of Carnot cycle. The evaporator coil of a refrigerator is at minus 23 degrees Celsius. The evaporator coil of a refrigerator is at minus 23 degrees Celsius. That evaporator coil means that compressor coil. The evaporator coil of a refrigerator is at minus 23 degrees centigrade. T2, temperature of the cold reservoir, minus 23, 250 Kelvin. Okay, I'll write it. 273 minus 23, that is 250 Kelvin. The gas compressed at the condenser is at 77 degrees Celsius. That is how it is given out. So temperature of the hot reservoir, 77 degrees Celsius plus 273. Yes, here also it is minus 273 plus 273, minus 23 plus 273. 77 plus 273 is 280, 350, correct? Is it 350, 273, 280, 350? Yeah, it is 100 difference, right? Yeah, 350 Kelvin. Now, the electrical energy used in freezing 1 kg of water at 0 degrees Celsius. You have water at 0 degrees Celsius inside the refrigerator. You have to freeze it completely, convert it into ice. That means how much heat energy must be absorbed from water at 0 degrees Celsius. That is nothing but latent heat of fusion of ice. The energy required to be removed from the ice, removed from water in order to completely convert it into ice at the no change of temperature state, that is at the freezing point, 0 degrees Celsius. Or energy required to completely convert 1 kg of water into 1 kg of ice into water at 0 degrees Celsius. That is also the latent heat of fusion of ice. You know what is the latent heat of fusion of ice? 3.36 something into 10 to the power 5 joule for 1 kg per kg. That is the latent heat of fusion. That means you have to do so much of work, or you have to absorb so much, not work, you have to absorb so much of energy from the cold reservoir. So from the cold reservoir, you have to absorb an energy of 3.3 into 10 to the power 5 joules. Okay, now, so the electrical energy used in so much, that means this should be Q2, correct? You know that, right? This is working substance, and here is water kept, and that is it has to be converted into ice. So this is Q2, and work done on the substance is Q1 minus Q2, and totally Q1 is released to the surroundings, hot reservoir, which is at a temperature T1. Now, if you want to do so, what you have to do now here? The evaporator coil of a refrigerator is so much, condenser coil is at so much temperature, electrical energy used in freezing, electrical energy used, work done on the gas. Using the electrical energy, we do the work on the gas and compress it and release that energy. Okay, so electrical energy used in freezing 1 kg of water. So 1 kg of water conversion needs this much of energy. So Q1 minus Q2 is how much? That is the question mark. Okay, we have the two temperatures, and you can use the coefficient of performance formula Q1 minus Q2 by Q1. Q2 by Q1 minus Q2 is equal to T2 divided by T1 minus T2. Alpha is equal to Q2. Yeah, Q2 is this one, 3.3 into 10 to the power 5. Q1 minus Q2, that is what you have to find out, correct? Yeah, energy used. So I'll write U, energy used, or simply I'll write Q1 minus Q2. That is what I have to find out, question mark, is equal to T2 by T1 minus T2, 250 divided by 100. Now I don't commit the same mistake as I did last time. I don't substitute 350. It is 350 minus 250. It is 100. 0, 0 get cancelled. It is 2 times. This is 5 times. I will cancel this one. 0.6 times 6 times, right? I multiply this to here. I'll bring this here. So what does it mean? Q1 minus Q2 is equal to this here. 2 into this one. So 1.32, correct? 2 2s are 2 6 are 12, 6 are 12, 1.32 into 10 to the power 5. So which answer is almost nearer, because they have not given this latent heat, but still we have assumed it. Yeah, here we have, right? 134, it is okay, 134, and if you multiply by 1,32,000 joules. That much of heat energy is used as from the electrical energy to compress the gas. Yes. So if you don't know the theory, here you can't answer the questions. You must have the strong knowledge of the theory. 17. A Carnot's heat engine is designed to operate between 480 and 300 Kelvin. Yes. A Carnot's heat engine is designed to operate between 480 and 300 Kelvin. Okay. Then I can find out the efficiency. 1 minus T2 by T1. 1 minus 300 by 480. Let it be like this. Oh, no. Okay, let it be 300 by 480. 6 5s are 8s are. This is 8 minus 5. 3 by 8. Efficiency is 3 by 8. Okay, may be useful. If the engine actually produces 1.2 joules of mechanical energy per calorie of heat absorbed. If engine actually produces 1.2 joules of mechanical energy per calorie of heat absorbed, that is another data. 1.2 joules of mechanical energy is generated. That means work done, work converted into mechanical energy. 1.2 joules of mechanical energy is generated per calorie of heat absorbed. 1 calorie, 4.2 joules. 1 calorie means 4.2 joules, right? So it is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. CGS unit, 1 calorie. That is nothing but 4.2 joules. If you convert it into 1 kg and 1 degree Celsius, 1 Kelvin, then it is 4,200 joules, because 1 kg contains 1000 grams. That's why 4,200 joules is the SI system unit of specific heat for water. Okay, 1 calorie of heat absorbed, Q1. Now question is, what is the ratio of actual efficiency to theoretical efficiency? Theoretical efficiency, we got it. Actual efficiency, output mechanical work divided by input energy. What is output mechanical work? Output mechanical work is 1.2. Input mechanical energy is input energy is 1 calorie, that is 4.2. This is 1 by 6, right? No, not 1 by 6. 6 2s are, 6 7s are. Correct? 6 2s are 12, 6 7s are 42. 2 by 7. What is the ratio of actual efficiency? 2 by efficiency actual, efficiency theoretical. 2 by 7 by 3 by 8. That is equal to 2 by 7 into 8 by 3. This is 16 by 21. Nearest one. This cannot be, because this is greater than 1. This is 0.33, can't be so much. because 0.3 times it is not, it is only 6, 21.3 times is 6, not possible. 3 by 1 is not possible, greater than 1. This one, isn't it? 5 3s are, 5 4s are, almost is nearly 3 by 4. That is the answer. Yeah, almost, very close answer. Okay, it is almost equal to 3 by 4. Okay, 18th one. In Carnot cycle, heat is taken from the source, the temperature of the source. We were discussing about this. The source, hot reservoir, and the sink, cold reservoir, are having such a high infinite thermal capacity that even if you remove some heat energy from it or add some heat energy to that, its temperature doesn't change. They remain constant because they are very large quantities of heat energies. A removal and addition of small amount of energy doesn't change their temperature at all. Okay, then 18, 19. The efficiency of a Carnot's engine working between steam point and ice point. Okay, direct one. Efficiency of a Carnot engine working between steam point, that is Q2 by Q1, right? 1 minus, okay, T2 by T1, 1 minus T2 steam point, that is ice point. Ice point is 273, 0 degrees Celsius, and steam point is 373, that is 100 degrees Celsius. This is 100 divided by T1 minus T2 by T1, 373, and we can divide this. You should have efficiency, right? This is okay, 12 or 3 ones are 0. Oh no, not 3. It is 100 by 37. 3. Okay. With what you can divide it? 2 becomes 50 here. Instead of that, of course, this can be, if it is 3 and if it is somewhat 400, say 100 by 400, it would have been 25%, correct? But it is not, it is too much of approximation. If I take it as 370 or so, if I take it as 370, 0 gets cancelled, 10 by 37, then what else I can do? 6 not welcome. 2 5s are 9s I'll take, because it was 373 here. 9s are. It is almost 1 by 4, 25%. No, cannot be so much. 373, 100. I think I have not gone wrong. 273 is the ice point and 373 is the boiling point, and 373 minus 273 by 100. 37, 10 by 37, okay, 5 by 18.5. It has become still complicated problem, right? Instead we will divide it, that's a better one. 10 by 37 is equal to 0 point. Do you get it as 3 times? Yeah, no, not 3 times, because it is 111. No, it is 2 times. That means this is the answer, 26.8%. That should be the answer, 26.8, almost 25%, nearly 25%, right? 10 by 40, yeah, it is, yeah, 26 point, because if it was 10 by 40, it would have been 1 by 4, 0.25%, but it is 37, little bit more. So 26.81%, correct. I don't know why did I struggle. It is 10 by 40, nearly. 20, 4 engines are working between 100K, 80K, 80 Kelvin, 40K and 20K Kelvin, 60 Kelvin and 40 Kelvin, 20 Kelvin and 100 Kelvin. Which has maximum efficiency? Efficiency is given by 1 minus T2 by T1. The one which has got maximum this value will have maximum efficiency. If this has to be maximum, this has to be minimum. So minimum T2 by T1 corresponds to maximum eta, because 1 minus T2 by T1 will be more, answer will be more. So efficiency of a Carnot heat engine will be maximum if T2 by T1 is minimum. So find out T2 by T1 minimum. First option, 20 by 40, that is 1 by 2, 0.5. Second option, oh no, first one is different, right? First one is 180, 80 by 100. So T2 by T1 you have to find out. 80 by 100, 80 by 100 is 8 by 10, 0.8. Second one is 20 by 40. So they may not be given in the order, So you have to see that. Temperature of the cold reservoir should be lesser. 40 by 60. Third one. That is 2 by 3. That is 0.666. Third one. This is third one. Fourth one. 20 by 100. Correct? 20 by 100. That is 1 by 5. It is 0.2. Minimum for this one. That means 1 minus T2 by T1 is maximum. Which has maximum efficiency? Fourth one. This one. That is the maximum efficiency. Okay. Then 21. The coefficient of performance of a Carnot refrigerator working between 30 degree and 0 degree is. Of course, coefficient of performance is alpha is equal to T2 by T1 minus T2. T2 273, 0 degrees, right? Divided by T1 minus T2 is 30 itself, because even in degrees and in Kelvins it is same, 90.1 something like this, right? So 9.1 something, 9.01, okay, 9 point, it is 3, third option, direct one. A Carnot seat engine working between 27 degrees Celsius and 37 degrees Celsius extracts 5,000 joules of heat from the source in each cycle. Okay, we'll list it. A Carnot seat engine working between 27 degrees Celsius and 37 degrees Celsius, 327 degrees Celsius, extracts 5,000 joules from the source. Q1 is 5,000 joules from the source in each cycle. Area of the PV diagram, you know that area under the pressure volume diagram is work done. PV diagram, P delta V, we were discussing about that in the previous synopsis. I don't have chalk. Well, 1 minute I will bring the chalk. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Now, okay, this is not needed. Absorbed energy is 500 joules. Then from the source in each cycle. The area of the PV diagram is, yes, work done. Work done is area under the PV diagram. T1 divided by T1 minus T2 by T1 is equal to Q1 minus Q2 by Q1. This is what you have to find out. Area under the PV diagram. That is work done. Okay. T1 minus T2. That difference same as that one. 327 minus 27. 300. Temperature of the source hot reservoir 327 plus 273. 273, 300, 600. Work done divided by 5,000 joules. This is half into 5,000 joules, work done, 2,500 joules. So simple one. Okay. 23. We have some problems on graph. The heat energy absorbed by a system in going through a cyclic process is shown in the figure. Okay. Heat energy absorbed by a system in going through a cyclic process is shown in the figure. Heat energy absorbed, that's what they want, right, in the cyclic process. They are not asking you what is the work done. They are asking you what is the heat energy absorbed. And remember, it is a PV diagram, right? Pressure here versus volume diagram. And if you get the area under this diagram, of course, pressure and volume might have been interchanged, no problem. Area gives the work done. So this is 10 and this is 20 and this is 30, correct? Yeah, here also it is 10 and this is 20 and this is 30 and this is pressure in kilopascal. Pressure in kilopascal, volume in liters. So can I write liters in meter cube? 1 liter is equal to 10 centimeter cube, right? 10 centimeter cube, that is equal to 10 centimeter into 10 centimeter into 10 centimeter. 10 centimeter is 10 into 10 to the power minus 2. That is 10 to the power minus 1 whole cube. So this is 10 centimeter cube. That is 10 to the power minus 3. See, 1 liter. So here you have 10 to the power minus 3 meter cube. Here you have kilopascal. Kilo. When you multiply 10 to the power 3 and 10 to the power minus 3 gets cancelled. So you will get it in joules, work done. But they are not asking you work done. They are asking you heat energy absorbed. But you see the first law of thermodynamics, and it is given that it is a cyclic process. They have mentioned that it is a cyclic process. If it is a cyclic process, it will return back to the original state. What is the change in the internal energy? It is 0. There is no change in the internal energy in a cyclic process since the system returns back to its original state. So this becomes 0, means work done is nothing but heat energy absorbed. That is what they are asking. Heat energy absorbed by the system, which is nothing but a work done. So if you want to find out work done, area under the PV diagram, area is pi r squared, that is pi into 10 square, because wherever you see the radius, it is 10 square, correct? 10, 10. And when you find out the r square, here and here, multiplied kilo, and this got the milli, and that gives the same 10 to the power minus 3, and plus 3 becomes 10 to the power 0, 1. So only 100 pi will remain. 10 squared pi joules here. That is the area which is nothing but heat energy absorbed. A work done, that is heat energy absorbed, since it is a cyclic process. Very easy graph. Now, looks horrible, right? Very large question, but very simple. The question goes like this. A gas is expanded from volume V0 to 2V0 under 3 different processes. One is isobaric. You can understand it that it is isobaric. Why? Because you see, pressure remains constant. It is a constant with the x-axis, where y-axis is pressure. Pressure is constant. It is isobaric process. 2 is isothermal. You can see that it is isothermal, rectangular hyperbola. And 3 is adiabatic. It is adiabatic because it is having a steep curve, right? Slope is more. And if delta U1, delta U2 and delta U3 are the change in the internal energy of the gas in the 3 processes, then of course you need not look into the graph itself to identify all those things. You can get it easily. You see, in an you have the first law of thermodynamics, delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. You know that in an isobaric process, all the things are involved. You have internal energy change, you have work done on the gas, everything. Then if heat energy is absorbed, then there is delta U. Delta U1 is positive. Delta U1 is positive. What about the other way? That is, okay, different processes, yes. Second one, isothermal. Isothermal process is where temperature is kept constant, there is no delta U at all, so delta U2 is 0. What about the final adiabatic? In an adiabatic process, when there is an expansion, you know that the expansion of the gas in an adiabatic process results in the loss of internal energy because there is no heat energy supplied from outside. So in an adiabatic process, there is a fall in the internal energy. Delta U3 is negative. It falls. So which is the answer here? This one. Delta U1 is greater because it is positive. Delta U2 is 0 and delta U3 is negative since it falls. So this is the greatest, next and next, least. So delta U1 is greater than delta U2, delta U2 is greater than delta U3. Delta U3 is the least one. That's all easy enough for discussion here. Then 25th, the temperature entropy diagram. Yeah, this is a special graph. Temperature entropy diagram of a reversible engine cycle is given in the figure. Its efficiencies. So you are asked to find out the efficiency. Remember, I have not mentioned about entropy. Entropy of a system, you might be knowing about this. It is the disorderness in the system. As you supply the more and more heat energy, the entropy goes on changing. It increases. So change in the entropy, you can't measure the entropy directly. Change in the entropy of a system will be more and more as you supply heat energy to it. And change in the entropy is directly proportional to the heat energy supplied to the system. Now, if you want to write the change in the entropy formula, change in the entropy is represented by S. It is the disorderness of the system. You know that in solids, the disorderness is less, entropy is less. Whereas in liquids, the entropy is little more because disorderness is more. In gases, it is highest entropy. So entropy goes on changing as you supply the heat energy and convert the material from solid to liquid, liquid to gas. Change in the entropy is heat energy absorbed by the system divided by temperature of the system. It is a ratio of heat energy absorbed by the system to the temperature of the system, that ratio is called change in entropy. Okay, let it be. If the change in entropy is delta Q by T, and I can define entropy like this way also. See, what is adiabatic process? Adiabatic process is a process where heat energy is neither absorbed nor given out. Then what happens to the entropy? Remains the same, right? There is no change. I don't say there is no entropy. There is, but there is no change in entropy. And in an adiabatic process, delta Q is 0, so delta is 0. So entropy is that thermodynamic variable, like volume, temperature, pressure. Entropy is also a thermodynamic variable. Entropy is that thermodynamic variable which does not change during adiabatic process. So one which doesn't change in the adiabatic process itself is the entropy. So that thermodynamic variable, delta Q is 0, because heat energy is neither absorbed nor given out. It is thermally isolated experiment. Okay, now the temperature entropy diagram is given. I don't know why these things are missing. This is 2T naught. Okay, I'll write the diagram here. That is better. So here is, and the arrow marks are also given. And here is the process in which, the direction in which the process occurs. This is T naught and this is 2T naught. Very easy problem, provided you know about entropy. So 2S naught, you see here. They are asking you the efficiency. If you want to know what is efficiency formula is Q1 minus Q2, work done divided by heat energy absorbed. How much is given, how much we have taught, how much you have scored in the exam, right? So Q1 minus Q2 is the work done, output. This is what is taken, Q1. So now you see, this is temperature and this is entropy. If you get the area under this diagram, what you will get? Can you find it out? Area under the entropy temperature diagram gives, see, it gives delta S into T naught, right? S into T. S into T is nothing but, or delta S into T is nothing but heat energy absorbed, right? It is the amount of heat energy absorbed, isn't it? Or delta Q, right? So area means delta S into T, which is nothing but delta Q, correct? So area under the entropy, okay. I'll have to switch on the light. Can you see this? Yes, it's raining. So area under the entropy temperature diagram gives heat energy absorbed or heat energy given out. If you can find out heat energy absorbed and heat energy given out, you can find out efficiency. So we have got some clues now. Area under the diagram, entropy temperature diagram gives the heat energy. Now which is absorbed and which is given out? That is what we have to find out. Now if you start from here to here, you see, when you move from here to here, entropy is increasing. Corresponding to this point, entropy is S naught. Corresponding to this point, entropy is 2S naught. Entropy has increased when you move from here to here. That means heat energy must have been absorbed because entropy has increased. So this should be Q1. So area under this curve, complete area, gives heat energy absorbed. Because from here to here, entropy has increased. Increase in the entropy means heat energy must be absorbed. Because when more and more heat energy is given to a system, its entropy disorderness increases. What about from here to here? When you move from here to here, entropy has decreased. That means heat energy must have been given out, Q2. So 2S naught to S naught, there is a decrease in the entropy, heat energy must have been given out. What about from here to here? No change in the entropy, S naught, S naught. That means in this part, heat energy is neither absorbed nor given out. So nothing is involved in this graph. Heat energy is neither absorbed nor given out because entropy is remaining the same. Now, find out Q1 and Q2. So how to find out Q1? Area under the graph gives heat energy absorbed. Q1, what is the area under this graph? So if you want to find out Q1, area under this graph complete area like this. What is that? This one. Half base. What is base? 2S naught to S naught. S naught, half base, into height. Height is 2T naught to T naught. T naught plus area of this rectangle. Length into breadth. Length is S naught, breadth is T naught. S naught, T naught. Correct? Half S naught, T naught is area of this. Area of this is S naught, T naught. It is 3 by 2 S naught T naught. What is Q2? Heat energy given out when the entropy changes. Area under this rectangle. That is this one, S naught T naught. Now you have got this. Why can't you find out efficiency now? Efficiency is equal to Q1 minus Q2. See, in order to get Q1 minus Q2, you can take Q1 as this one. Q1 minus Q2. Half S naught T naught, S naught T naught minus S naught T naught. It is half S naught T naught. By Q1, where is the formula? I am using this formula. Q1 minus Q2 by Q1. Q1 is the 3 by 2 S naught T naught. 3 by 2 S naught T naught. That is equal to 2 gets cancelled. That is 1 by 3. So option is this one. Very simple problem, provided you must collect some ideas about some concepts which are not in the syllabus. So entropy is one such thing. So it is the disorderedness of the system. So finally you were able to get this. So area under the entropy versus temperature diagram gives heat energy absorbed or given out depending on the type in which entropy increases or decreases. An ideal gas is taken from state A to state B, P1 V1 T1 to P2 V2 T. The PV diagram for the pressure diagram for the pressure is as shown below. The pressure versus volume. Then work done is simply the area under the PV diagram. So we will draw the graph like this. It is like this. This is we will write all the values here. See, this A to B, this is pressure and this is volume. Area under the PV diagram gives the work done. So full area, this is not a cyclic process. If it is a cyclic process, area under the closed loop gives the work done. If it is not a cyclic process, area under the whole graph. 4, 8, pressure is 4, volume is 4, 8, this is 4. And 8 is this one. This one, right, this point, right, this is 8. 6, 2, this is 6. And this is 2. That means, I don't have color chalks. This is 6 minus 4, 2, correct? 4 to 6. And what is this one? 8 minus 4, this is 4. 8 minus 2, 6. 8 minus 2, 6. 6 minus 4, 2, yeah. Area under the full curve is this one. Half, first we will find out the area of the triangle. Half base into height plus length into breadth. 2 into 2. 10 joules. This is the area, right? 6 plus 4, 10. I think I have not done any mistake. 4, this is 6, this is 4, 4, 8, and 6, 2. 6, 6, here, which is 6 and 2. I think I have done mistake. 6 and 2, which is 6. 6 and 2, correct. 6 minus 4 is 2, 2 minus 8 is 6, yes. Half base into height and length into breadth, 10 joules, that is the work done. Total area. When a system is taken from state A to state C along the path ADC, okay, when a system is taken from state A to state C, I'll draw the diagram. So here is a PV diagram. Very, very simple problem. I think this was asked once in a NEET exam. Very, very simple. Pressure versus volume, and here is the process shown, and you are moving like this. It is a cyclic process. Okay. And in two ways you are moving from A to C. You are moving from A to C via B, and once like this via D. ADC and ABC are the two processes. This is okay. When the system is taken from state A to state C along the path ADC, okay, along the path ADC, 65 calories of heat energy is absorbed. So along this path, 65 calories of heat energy is absorbed. and work done is 35 calories. Now if you use the first law of thermodynamics, heat energy absorbed is equal to increase in the internal energy, external work done by the gas. Now what is the change in the internal energy? 65 calories of heat energy supplied. Change in the internal energy we don't know. Work done is 35. So change in the internal energy is 30 joules. 65 minus 35. That is when you move from A to B and D to C. But even if you move from A to B and B to C, that means if you first increase the pressure and then change the volume, what is the difference between ADC and ABC? In ADC, first increase the volume, then increase the pressure. Here increase the pressure and then increase the volume. So even if you move from A to B to C or A to D to C, change in the internal energy is zero, same, not zero. The difference that we get in the internal energy is same. Why? Because this is initial state and final state are same. You are going to the same final state. The path may be different. Once increasing the pressure and then volume. Another path increasing the volume and then increasing the pressure. That may be different, but the states are one and the same. Initial state and final state. So change in the internal energy can be applied both for ABC and ADC. No way. There is no difference in that. So they say that along ABC, amount of heat energy absorbed along this path, that is 46 calories of heat energy is absorbed. W along the path is. So along ABC, you can write again this formula. Delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. What is delta Q? Heat energy absorbed is, Q is given 46. 46 is heat energy absorbed. Internal energy change should be the same since initial and final states are same. Delta W, it is 16 joules, right? Is 16 calories, right? It is this answer. It is 16 calories of heat energy is absorbed. So in this path it is, now you see, when you work it out second time, when you understand what is the theory behind this, it is very simple. Change in the internal energy must be same. What is the change in the internal energy in the first case? 65 minus 35. That is 30, right? What about here? 46 is absorbed. That means 16 is the work done. Yes. We have a similar problem. Next one, 28. Okay? Because we have to finish it somehow. Right. This is also easy problem. See, following figure shows the thermodynamic process. In the process, AB is, process AB, 600 joules of heat is added to the system. Let me write this like this. So here is A, B, C, B, and this is another one, ADC, and here is the direct one, A to C, A, B, C, D, and you go through different processes and values are given here. This pressure is 8 into 10 to the power 4, 8 into 10 to the power 4 pascals, and this is 3 into 10 to the power 4 pascals, and here is 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter cube, and 5 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter cube. So everything is in meter cube, volume is in meter cube, and pressure is in pascals. Now, what is the question? In the process AB, 600 joules of heat is absorbed. Okay. And in the process BC, okay, from here to here, 200 joules is added. That means totally 800 joules are added to the system. The change in the internal energy of the system in the process AC is here. From here to here, what is the change in the internal energy? Of course, change in the internal energy from A to C is same as you move from A to C directly, or whether you move from A to B, B to C, because initial and final states are same. Change in the internal energy is same. So find out the change in the internal energy from here to here. You know the total heat energy absorbed from A to B to C. The heat energy absorbed is 800 joules, 600 plus 200. What is the work done in that process? Work done is area under the curve, right? Area under the curve, that is equal to area of the this graph. You are moving from A to B and B to C, and remember work done is given by the area under the full diagram. That means you have to find out this full area up to this. Even though, because this is not a cyclic process, remember. Why it is not a cyclic process? You are moving from A to B, that means increasing the pressure and increasing the volume. You don't return back to A. Then what is this A to C, sir? A to C is another process. It is a different process. They are asking you, what is the change in the internal energy when you move through the process A, B, C? A, B, C, and the change in the internal energy when you move from A to C. We are arguing that change in the internal energy is same since the initial and final points are same. So area under ABC gives the work done during ABC. But change in internal energy through ABC is same as change in internal energy through direct AC. So delta W, area under the full graph ABC, it is not a cyclic process. It has nothing to do with the second process A to C. So you have to find out the full area, that is length into breadth. You have to go for length into breadth, that is equal to length is, so I will take this 5 minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3 into 10 to the minus 3 into breadth. Breadth is this one, it is the breadth. Breadth is, it is from here to here, that is 8 into 10 to the power 4. So what is the answer here? That is 24, okay, this is 240 joules because 3 into 8 is 24 and here you have 1 10 to the power, so 240 joules. Now delta Q, heat energy absorbed, is 800 joules and work done is 240 joules. What is the change in the internal energy? You can use this formula, delta Q is equal to delta U plus delta W. Delta Q is 800, delta U, that's what you have to find out, work done is 240, minus if you do, then 240, 60, 300, then 500, 560 joules is delta U. So you have the answer here. That is the change in the internal energy when you go for this process. But it is same for AC also. So you can have the same answer, 560 joules. Yeah, those who are appearing for NEET exam, you have these types of course not in NEET, you will have in some other exams, but still we will have such type of questions, which makes the theory very strong for this one. Read the assertion and reason carefully to mark the correct option out of the options given below. Okay, in some of the other entrance exams, you may get a question of this type. Of course, if both assertion and reason are true and the reason is correct explanation of assertion, okay, ABC, that we will come back later. Assertion, the ratio of specific heat at constant pressure and constant volume for a diatomic gas, that means they are referring to gamma. Ratio of specific heat at constant pressure and constant volume for a diatomic gas is more than that for a monoatomic gas. Monoatomic, okay? Monoatomic gas. It is wrong. For a monoatomic gas it is more, for a diatomic gas it is less. So wrong. Specific heat constant volume, diatomic gas is more, no, that is wrong. Reason, molecules of a monoatomic gas have more degrees of freedom than those of di. That is also wrong. Because molecules of monoatomic gas have only 3 degrees of freedom compared to diatomic 5. It is wrong. So assertion is wrong, reason is also wrong. Which one? Assertion is wrong, reason is wrong. If the assertion and reason both are false, it is option D. So you have to mark D, right? Both assertion and reason are false. Now, again, another one. At absolute zero temperature, it is the temperature corresponding to zero energy. Of course, zero heat energy, not zero energy. The energy may be in different form, right? Zero energy is wrong. Absolute zero temperature is the corresponding zero energy, zero heat energy. Temperature zero means heat energy zero. Reason, temperature at which no molecular motion is found is called absolute zero temperature. That is correct. At absolute zero temperature, there is no kinetic energy for the gas molecules, so there is no motion. That is correct. And assertion is wrong, reason is true. You have? Yeah. Assertion is wrong, reason is true. Assertion is false, reason is true. E, option E for this question. So this one E, and that one is previous one, we have marked it, right? Okay, right. So that is a question about thermodynamics, and if time permits, we will have questions again at the end, or we will have a test for that. So we will meet in the next class with the new chapter. Thanks for watching my class. Take care of your health and work out more problems. These problems are not enough. You have to work out more problems, and prepare well, right? Thank you.